from the top all the way down to the bottom, and they're very, very powerful, very influential. They start wars, for example. Some of the wars that are going to be started by the church are the Crusades, right? The Crusades are another topic of the medieval time period that we're going to talk about. But in essence, they're holy wars launched by the Pope to try and retake the Holy Land back from Muslims. And so that's an example of wars started from the power of the Catholic Church during this time period. So very important to understand their role and the significance of the church, because they had the power. And one of the things that made the church so influential during this time period is, again, it was the Dark Ages. It was a period of, it was not a comfortable period in history. Going back in history, you ask me, what era, or any historian, what era would you like to go back and visit? I don't think many people would say, oh boy, I'd love to go back to the Dark Ages and experience what it was like to live back then. No, it was not a very comfortable time period. So what was comforting then? They didn't have luxury things that the Romans used to, public bathhouses the Romans used to have, a varied diet, safety and security, the ability to go focus on, a hobby even. You didn't have this in the Dark Ages. So what then provided that security? It would be religion. It would be Catholicism. That is what gave people comfort. That is what gave people hope. It was the idea of salvation would be waiting for you in the end, right? This life might be full of suffering during this time period, but the next life will be full of living like a king, so to speak. And so that's what people used to get through these hard times. They fell back on their faith, they fell back on their religion, because it promised them better times after their death. And so the Catholic Church will grow powerful immensely during this time period, for that being one of the reasons. Castles are also, when people think of the medieval time period, I'm sure the first thing they think of, or at least one of the first things they think of, are castles. All right, castles are going to provide safety for the citizens, and that's kind of the exchangement, going back to the feudal system, right? Peasants will farm the land for their lords, and during an attack, the lord will allow the peasants into their castle and give them safety and security so they're not butchered, right? So again, you're giving an exchangement for something, and that would be safety. And castles become really the first bastion of defense and hope after the fall of the Western Roman Empire. People start building these fortifications. Many of them were actually leftover fortifications that the Romans had built, the first ones, and they started using them as safe havens to prevent them from being attacked by random people. That was where people first fled to get the safety that they so wanted, because it was a chaotic time period. All right, and these are just some of the different things that we're going to be talking about as time goes on. There are many other topics, but in general, guys, this is what the Dark Ages, this is what they're about. An overview of what they're about. So we'll continue with more lessons in the future. Stay healthy, stay safe, and I'll see you for the next one. Bye.